Hello there, lads and ladies. Welcome back to another tattoo story time. I hope you're having a lovely day, and today I'd like to talk about the tattoo on my back. I'll show you it in a second. It's quite small, it's like circular, but it's a description of a yin-yang symbol, which of course you and I both know. It's a Chinese symbol used to tell you the prophecy, well, not prophecy, it's the idea of yin and yang. Basically, it's good and evil that they switch together. One is basically a white part of the circle, and the other is the black part of the circle. Except I don't have white on mine, it's just black with the white of my back filling in most of the other parts of it. I think what I might do later on is probably fill that in with something more of an opaque colour, just so it stands out more, because the ones on my backs are really starting to fade. I mean, when I first got that one, I was like 18. Like, that was my first legal one, at least. The other one I got when I was 17, basically. You know, we all have that one tattoo where we're like, oh yeah, I could get this one, possibly, you know, like at 17 or something like that. Oh, sorry. Not my candle over there, there we go. Anyway, yes, let me show you what it looks like. Just gotta bring my back up a little bit. Hang on. I don't know if you can see it there. See it? Just that there. As you can see, it has two separate bits of kanji on it. They're both in Japanese. One is for jiu-jitsu and the other is for judo. Now, the reason why I got that was because jiu-jitsu and judo was one of the first martial arts that I really gravitated towards, and I really wanted to teach when I was a young man, really. And I got the chance to when I was much older, when I got to be an instructor for Nimpo and jiu-jitsu, basically. At my old practice at the Gimcon. It was really enjoyable. Really lovely to see the children flourish when it came to learning different techniques in martial arts, basically. Now, the reason I got it in that version, like with the judo and jiu-jitsu, is because they're both sister arts, basically, in a certain sense. They're both arts that came out of jiu-jitsu, basically. Judo was more of a thing created by the well-known Professor Kano. If you don't know who Professor Kano is, as a judoka, you should be ashamed of yourself. But no, if those who don't know who Professor Kano is, he was a brilliant judoka who patented the idea of modernizing traditional jiu-jitsu and turning it into something that could be used safely, kind of like what Marcus of Queensberry did with the, you know, padded fist with boxing. Professor Kano added the padded mat, basically, so you could train for hours using the techniques from jiu-jitsu and then applying it into judo, which was more safer, basically. Although judo mostly focuses on the particular throws, the odd small little submissions from standing to ground from time to time. There aren't that many eye gouges, pressure points, locks, stuff like that. Judo was just the quicker version of jiu-jitsu when it came to getting an opponent to the floor and just assisting him there. That's the difference between Western martial arts and Eastern martial arts. In Western martial arts, you're just imposing your force onto another, whilst in Eastern martial arts, you know, they just fell to the floor and you just assisted them there. Yeah, that's how they like to put it, basically. It's known as the gentle way, judo, if you want to know what that means. But the interesting bit of history with Professor Kano is, I remember they did this one practice. I don't know if it was out of Kyoto or Tokyo, but they did like this little friendly competition with the jiu-jitsu masters with Professor Kano and his students, where they basically had all of the students go face to face with one another and to see who would win between judo and jiu-jitsu. And I believe jiu-jitsu won 8 or 9 out of 12 or something like that. I remember the rounds were particularly over 10, so I think jiu-jitsu won 9 out of 12 rounds or something like that. And then on that date in Kyoto or Tokyo, or wherever it was that it was held, the police force was taught to use judo as a form of self-defense practice, basically, which is a nice piece of history there for Japan's police force. Really, it's very interesting. Kind of like what they did really with Naruto Shippuden, if you've seen the anime, where Sasuke's parents and family were basically police officers. That's what the I can't remember their bloody names. Uchiha, that's it. The Uchihas basically were all policemen and police officers and stuff like that. So I feel like that was kind of like a little excerpt of what that little competition it was between them that it had, basically. And I wanted that on my back in one way, shape or form, really, because it was such a interesting piece of history when I looked at it for the first time, because I was like, oh wow, that's so cool that they basically, you know, combated it out together to see who would basically be the top dog for that martial art, basically. It was really an interesting story, really. So yeah, it was pretty interesting. How I got the tattoo, I actually went with my dad for the first time to get a tattoo. It was the only time that my dad joined me to get a tattoo. I got my first one on my other back. That both my first and second tattoos are on my back, so I'll show you my first one maybe in another tattoo story time when I get the opportunity. But yeah, this was my first legal one, at least at 18, with my dad. I can't remember the name of the tattoo store we went to, but I know it was somewhere in New Haven or something like that. New Haven is like one of those lovely little city port towns, if you know what I mean. So there's like this big bridge that you go over the river that goes outwards towards the sea. That's where all the cruise liners and all that, well, a couple of cruise liners come in here and there. It's mostly just like transports and like smaller schooner ships and vessels and stuff like that. But I remember going over that bridge, and I remember this one distinct time when a cruise ship was going off and they were just waving goodbye and all that stuff to their families and all that. Just reminded me of the old film of Titanic. I'm just thinking, oh god, I hope they're alright, you know. And then we went to the tattoo store. I can't remember the name of it, but I remember the tattoo artist. He was a lovely chap. I've actually been quite lucky with my tattoo artist. Like, I know how to pick them. I know how to pick a very friendly, very talented artist, basically. I mean, sometimes it's easy just to look at someone's work and then say, oh yeah, well that's good. I like to get to know the tattoo artist because, well, they're going to intimately know you through your, you know, tattooing and the pain they're going to put you through. So you want to make sure that the person you're getting tattooing you, like, understands you and understands how your body works when it comes to pain and tolerance and stuff like that. Although I'm not the type of guy to, like, really prepare myself when I go in for tattooing. I don't, like, bring, like, 15,000 snacks and, like, a pillow and stuff like that. No. I just, like, go in, show up for the tattoo. Usually get the tattoo done within under 6 hours if I can help it. If it goes over 6 hours, then, you know, then I'm kind of internally screaming at myself, basically, like, oh god, I should have maybe prepared it a little bit better. But that's only happened, like, 3-4 times maybe at least, where it's gone over to 8 hours or something like that. And only recently I've tried using numbing cream, really, but as you can see from the, you know, arm incident there, I didn't use enough. I didn't use enough for the size that it was going to be. So I'm going to have to prepare myself a little bit better next time, you know. Yeah, I don't get the whole reason of, like, you know, oh, you have to suffer to earn your tattoos. Like, I'm too old for that crap now, you know. I'm nearly 30 in February, so I don't want to have to spend most of my freaking 30s just sitting there in pain whilst getting a tattoo done. You know, if you could knock me out, you know, like give me anesthesia and then get the tattoo done, great. But unfortunately, that's too bloody expensive and a waste of anesthesia. So, numbing cream it have to be, basically. But oddly enough, the back wasn't a big deal. When I was 17, I didn't understand, like, you know, how traumatic some tattoos can be depending on the tattoo artist and their skill and their application to the place. But thankfully, he just used black for my tattoo and a little bit of grey on the other one. I wanted him to add a little bit more grey into the white so it really pops a little bit better, because I know I couldn't get full on white in there. So Yeah, that was fine. The black one I think was a little bit worse. It depends on the art style and the tattoo artist, I think, because with me, my type of pain for tattooing is the shading and the wiping, I think. And it depends if it's on bone or muscle. I think if it's on bone, it hurts less because of the vibrations, but you feel it more, if that makes any sense. And like when you have more veins, like within the wrist area, like this bit here really freaking hurt. Like I was in so much pain. You can't see it from how well it's healed, but this was a bloody mess. Like he first did his part, like Brian did this part first, because he knew how painful this would be. And thankfully he's done a good job of packing in the blue around in it as much as he could with how hard it was to get the blue in there. But my back was a different story because black and grey goes in just like that. You know the old saying, bold will hold, and it definitely has held all this time. Compared to my pink and blue and a little bit of black on my back on the right hand side for my lotus. I'll show you what that, you've probably seen it already, but it's obviously starting to fade. I might want to probably get that done in sooner or later when I get the chance. When I get my back piece done, I don't know whether or not to incorporate, I don't know what to incorporate to make it flow well with the back. So what I'm going to do, like what I've done with most of my arm, is add small bits to my back and then build it up over time and then fill it in. So that way I don't have to suffer with the trauma of a 36-hour tattoo or a 72-hour tattoo and then, you know, have the trouble of sleeping on it, because sleeping on a tattoo is really one of the most uncomfortable things that you can do, really, because for me, I'm not too bothered about the pain, but I'm more bothered about getting an infection, which I did in this arm, and like the possibility of ruining the tattoo, because depending on how you sleep on it, it can really screw up your tattoo. I remember getting my left arm done and I slept on it funny and my arm was numb for about half an hour or so when I woke up. That was because of the searing pain I was putting my arm through whilst I was sleeping, but for some reason I didn't wake up, so my arm basically just decided to die on me, basically. So I'm not doing that again. I'm going to try and make sure that I sleep with my hand out of the bed, you know, like it's sleeping outwards of it. So I'm not sleeping on it, basically. Because I usually sleep on my side, so when I sleep on my side, I tend to put my hand under my pillow and then, you know, rest my head on that. So that's probably just down to habit, really, for me. So I'm really not looking forward to getting this side filled in because I know I'm going to sleep on this hand. So I need to learn to sleep on my right hand side, you know. It's just weird, the things that your body does out of habit, but then you know not to do those things out of habit, but then your mind is saying, no, what are you doing? Just go back to your habit, you know, like, ugh, it's so, creatures of habits, us humans, we're horrors, you know, when it comes to stuff like that. But, tattoo wasn't that bad. Guy was lovely, dad was patient, bless him. I asked him if he wanted to get a tattoo, and he said, oh, I don't know, mate, I was thinking what to get, but he wasn't so sure. He has 3 tattoos, I think. Nowhere near as much as mine, but I know he has a couple. He's got a dragon on his shoulder, like a very crappily done, very faded dragon, where I think it's a wyvern. It's either a wyvern or something like that, but it looks okay, but it's really faded due to the age. I think he might have got it when he was like under 20 or something like that. I never asked him like what year, how old he was when he got it. I know he has a tribal tattoo on his other shoulder, but it's like the really like a cheesy Americanized version of a tribal. You know, it's not like the traditional Polynesian. It's like the stripy one. You know what I mean? Like the really ugly looking one. I'm sorry, Dad, but it's just that's the thing. Like American style tribal is just not cool anymore, I'm afraid. But again, choice is your choice at the end of the day. You know, that's what I always say. If you get a tattoo and you want it on your body, that's it. You want it. It's yours. You know, you don't care. You shouldn't care what other people think about your tattoo, really. And when it comes to like the art style and stuff like that, really, you should just enjoy what you want for your body, and then enjoy the art that, you know, complements your body, basically. And honestly, I think it does complement him because he's quite a handsome chap. Apart from his nose, he's got a little bit of a bigger nose. I'm so glad I got my mum's nose. His is like outwards a bit. It's quite big, whereas mine is quite small. So I'm glad I have a small nose. Thank you, Mum. Sorry, Dad. But yeah, he's a handsome chap, funny guy, and yeah, honestly, he fits his body type basically. You know, he's not overweight, he's not underweight. Got a bit of a dad bod, but that's due to his age. I'll probably have a dad bod when I get to that age as well. But you know, fitness is everything, really. Unfortunately, with Dad, he's done his back in basically at work, so he has to calm down a little bit. So unfortunately, he can't do the same exercises he's used to basically. Swimming helps, I think, for the exercises for back pain and stuff like that, and just small home exercises. The small things always count. Like if you really want to lose weight, just get yourself a Peloton bike and just work on that basically. Works good for the legs and the hamstrings and your leg muscles and all that. I've actually got some pretty big leg muscles for, you know, my size really. It's due to all the cycling really and all that. I don't think you can see most of them because of the tattoos, but yeah. I'm just throwing excuses now, aren't I? But yeah, I think my legs are probably the most toned out of anything else on my body. I remember when I used to have a 4-pack when I was younger, but that was just due to age, basically. I haven't had much opportunity to go out and exercise due to the rain and all that here. It's been absolutely horrible. We've also got Remembrance Day coming up in 3 days' time. Well, 2 days' time, I should say, basically, after tomorrow, basically. So on the 11th, I will be focusing a little bit on how to take care of some floral arrangements that I want to do for my granddad. I want to go up to his grave and put some puppies around his grave. I've also got a little cross that I want to put down in front of his grave, a little wooden made cross with a puppy on it with his name. So we'll probably do that, and yes, afterwards I will be continuing a new gameplay for you guys. It will be God of War Ragnarok, so look forward to that. I will definitely be. Kind of a long game to get through, but I want to explore as much as I can and learn as much lore as I can with it as well, because it will be focusing on a little bit more of Fenrir, you know, Loki's wolf child, and then maybe we might see Hel. I'm not so sure. They might save that for the third installment, we don't know. Although I don't think there should be a third installment, because if it's named Ragnarok, then it should end with Ragnarok. But I've seen a couple of trailers of it and it's looking very good, and I'm hoping you guys will enjoy it as well. So, with that, lads and ladies, I thank you ever so much for joining me for yet again another tattoo story time. Oh yes, the final. Now, it's on Saturday, but I think what I'm going to do is probably do it live. I don't know, I might have to check because it's quite late in the morning, so I will try and stay up for it if I can. I'm gonna do the bronze final and then I'll see if I can do the final, because it's a bit early, but it's England versus New Zealand, so I will probably stay up for it. But the problem is, if we win, I'm gonna scream my head off. So I'm thinking about the neighbours, you see, because like this early in the morning, that's a no-no basically. So I might have to see about the final. I'll probably do the bronze final, but for the final I might have to save for the next day. So if it's a little late, then you'll understand. I will try my best to not see any teasers or like videos for what happened, but yes, I'll have to see. But yeah, I will try my best to get it out as early as possible for you guys, without ruining anything for myself basically. So with that, thank you ever so much for watching, and yeah, I will see you in whatever I next do around here. Take care, my friends.